In this series we're going to write a couple of web pages that produce a blog, rather like Twitter, which updates automatically. To do this we're going to need a database, which is something new. We're going to be programming in a language called PHP, which again is new, and also a little bit of HTML, which you should be familiar with. Now, I'm going to explain everything as I go along. However, this is very, very complex and complicated, so I don't expect you to understand. This is A-level, degree level, if you were going to design and build it on your own, but there's no reason why you can't follow along and create and edit the programs that I give you. So the first thing we're going to do is start our database. We're going to amend our database. I've set you all up with a database. It's in HTTP, web server 25, and you don't need to use your username for this one. You just need to type PHP my admin. Now, I've given you the code as images on the course pages. However, I have not given you how to prepare the database, so I'm going to do this through video. So the first thing you'll be asked to do is to log in, and you need to type your username in the username box and the password. Now, if you haven't changed your password, you should have been on this before, and if you haven't changed your password, it should be your first name. At the moment there's no danger in changing it other than other people know it, so you might wish to change your password, but you'll need to remember it. So we're going to log in, and when we do, you'll see just your area. Here we go. So that is the area. Ignore the information schema, we're only interested in this. So if I click on this is the database, and that's a little symbol for it. If I click on the database, this window pops up on the right hand side of the structure, and it says create table, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to create a table. It's a bit like a spreadsheet with rows and columns. So the first thing we're going to do is say that we only want 3 columns, because what we want to do is take the person's name who's writing the blog post and their comment. So that's 2 columns, and there's a further column called an ID, which you don't really need to know about, but is important to the database. So we need to give our table a name, and I'm going to call it comments, and click on go, and that will create the table for me. However, I've got to fill in the details. Now I'm going to maximize the window so that we can see a bit more of this. So these 3 boxes under this heading name are where you type the names of your columns. I'll give an example online in the course with a spreadsheet, but you should be okay with it. So the first one is ID, so type ID, keep them all lowercase, and then we want the person's name, so whoever's posting the blog, we need their name, and finally we need the comment that they're going to make. So it's like Twitter. So Joe sends a comment saying how happy he is. Now, we're moving along to the second column where it says type, and leave the first one alone at int, which stands for integer. But the second one, we're going to choose something called varchar. It's a string which can go up to 65,535 characters, we saw there. So I'm going to choose varchar for that, and for the comment I'm also going to choose varchar, which is just another word for string. But on these 2 I'm going to set the lengths. For the length of the name I'm going to choose 10, but for the comment, and I'm going to go back to the Twitter days where you could only have 144 characters, I'm going to set that to 144. Now I've almost finished setting up my table. I've just got my ID, some details to place on my ID. So number 1, it needs to be unique. So I'm scrolling along to find this index column here. And if I drop down this box, I can choose something called primary. Primary means first item. It's going to be a key Each item in this is going to be unique and it's going to be a number. So it's going to start off at 1, then 2, then 3, and we can't have two ones. Again, I'll explain that a bit later. And we're going to let the computer automatically increment. So auto increment, that means it goes up itself. So every time we add a new record to our database, it gives it the next number. So I'm going to put a tick in that box. So index is primary, AI ticked. And that's it. We've set up our database. So I can just click save, and in the left hand pane you should see the new database, the new table, sorry, comments. In the right hand pane you should see the three fields that you created: ID, name and comment, and the sizes of each. And this one's got a little key next to it saying it's the key, the most important field. In fact, it's called a primary key here. But that's information that you will need for the GCSE exam, but we're approaching it a little bit early, so don't worry if you don't understand. But that's it. We've finished our database. We've set it up. We just need to remember a couple of things: comments, the table name, our own user area, our password. We need to know that for our program. So in the next video we will start building our web pages to make this work.